All right. Well, Jon Jones did it again. Another title fight, another win for Bones. In just over 2 minutes, Jones finished Cyril Gane to become the UFC heavyweight champion. He can now boast being a champion in his second weight class, in addition to that legendary career he's had at light heavyweight. So much to discuss, but first, I want to know, what was your reaction to his dominant performance at UFC 285? Fada, we turn to you for the first take.
Incredible. I mean, what can I say? I did not expect the fight to go that way. Not at all. I mean, I thought we're gonna see kind of a back and forth battle on the feet, some takedowns. Not to say that I didn't think Jones could win in that fashion, but that quickly, like just taking him down. I mean, he made it look so easy. It was remarkable. I mean, when you think about Jon Jones, who he is, the GOAT conversation. This is exactly what he needed to do. I mean, it couldn't have gone better for him. Just spectacular. I feel like there are a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, and it's not exactly his fault because he went out there and dominated, but I wanted to see a bit of the speed, the kind of the questions that I had. How is he going to fare speed wise with that extra weight? How is he going to fare cardio wise? A lot of unanswered questions, in my opinion, but I'm pretty sure he's not complaining. I was complete domination. Cyril Gane is really good. I mean, I thought he was going to pose a lot of problems for Jon Jones in the stand up. I felt like people were underestimating Cyril's grappling based off of the Francis fight, and for Jon Jones to go out there and just kind of push him against the fence, really just bully him and choke him out. The angle was weird. We couldn't see if it was tight, but in the replay, we saw that it was. Just phenomenal. I can't really say too much about it. Kind of best case scenario for him. Best case scenario for the UFC in terms of if Jones were to win. We felt his star power at fight week. It felt like a big star was there. And for all the fans that may have forgotten or are new fans that didn't know too much about Jon Jones, what a way to remind everybody why you are one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time after Saturday night. So extremely impressed. I can't say too much bad things about that performance.
Fada, we're in the same boat. Just hours before you and I did that preview show here on MMA Junkie, and we covered all that, we thought most of this fight would be contested with the kickboxing, and none of that happened. This was the best case scenario for Jon Jones. I want to heap as much praise as I can on him because he did something that was pretty amazing. It did work out for the UFC because obviously they lost a talented heavyweight months before in Francis Ngannou, and now they got a talented heavyweight to replace him who just had an incredible statement. But like you said, Fada, like so many questions of what we want to know, like going forward, what Jon Jones look like? We didn't get we didn't get those answered. So frustrating. How about you, Dan? We'll come back to you, Fada. I know there's more to contribute here, but Dan, your immediate reaction as it unfolded, man. 2 minutes into the fight, for crying out loud.
I mean, first off, let me say that despite picking Gone, I was so excited for these fights, guys, from top to bottom. And I do believe that has something to do with Jon Jones being back, especially if we were fans of a certain era. He kind of tethers us back to there, regardless of what your opinions of the guy may be. His presence, his greatness is a word being floating around. These are hard things to deny. And in that aspect, I agree with Farah as well. It could not have gone any better. Now, again, I'm not just harping on this as somebody who picked the other side or, somebody who, you want to call a hater or whatever, because I keep the same energy for every fight, even the more, not as meaningful prelim fights. I hate when a fight ends too early. We don't really get to learn anything about the guy. And I don't know if we learned much. It's impressive in the fact that Jones hadn't come out and actually used his wrestling to blow someone away in the first round since, middleweight Chael Sonnen over a decade ago, which I think a lot of people weren't realizing. But despite, Jon Jones fans not wanting to admit anything negative, despite it actually being a positive, it is a positive because who can just stop doing things for a decade and then kind of come back to them? I know he didn't stop fighting for a decade, but if you look at the actual trends and stuff that he broke, really impressive. But I don't know how much it really told us about him. Maybe it told us more about the quality of heavyweight, which I'll page note that for later.
There you go. I love it. How about you, Goes? Immediate reaction. I mean, you were upstairs, I was downstairs, but I think both of us were like,
well, my immediate reaction right now, when you said Jon Jones did it again, I freaked out, man, because normally when we hear that, it means something else. And I hope we're able to turn the corner here with Jon Jones because that's one thing, man, going into this fight. Like you don't want to just see what he's like physically and all. You want to know where he's at mentally, right? Gone 3 years, coming back to Las Vegas. What's all that going to be like for him? And it seemed like he handled it like a champ. I mean, he kind of went on his little PR tour, right? Like he was being friendly to everybody, saying all the right things. I think overall, man, this couldn't have gone any better for him. I'm with Farah and Dan. I picked Cyril Gane in this one. I didn't just pick him. I actually thought he was going to dominate the fight. I was really, really wrong. I'll eat crow on that. But I do wish we would have seen a little bit more of Jon Jones so that we can kind of forecast what it's going to be like as a heavyweight for him. You know, they bring up Stipe Miocic, right? Right away, it sucks that we're kind of like in the same boat where we're like, well, we're not too sure, right? Like what happens if these fights go the distance? There's a lot of question marks still, but what he was able to do on that night was pretty damn amazing. The way he did it, the things that he said before, the things that he said after, and the fact that when George says Jon Jones did it again, it meant something else for us. So he maybe turned the page there as well.
Yeah. All right. Very classy. Everybody handling it, you know, like as we should, as professionals here. But yeah, I was on Team Gone too. I think I even said it's gonna be easy. So here I am. I'm taking my medicine. I'll start with Musa N in the chat. He says, no real MMA fan said Gone had a chance. Laughing my ass off. Jon has more title defenses than Gone has fights. I mean, it's all 100% correct, except I am a real MMA fan, goddammit. And that's just what I thought. What do you want from me, man? Like, when has this guy really wrestled as of late? And did he not struggle in his last 2 title defenses? And has he not been gone for 3 years? I mean, we weren't wackos here. You know what I mean? Like in what we said, but boy, did Jon make me look dumb.
Wait, George, are you saying you picked an upset in the heavyweight MMA, a volatile sport in the most volatile division? Are you saying that Jon Jones is a human being? How dare you, George? How dare you? But by the way, really quick, all I did was think of George and Goes this weekend when that happened, because you guys said it all the time on MMA Junkie Radio, right? You guys referenced Thiago Alves versus George St. Pierre sitting there for UFC 100 going, I can't believe I picked against the GOAT or a GOAT. I don't want to trigger any Jon Jones fans. We'll get to that, folks. But yeah, you know, to the fairness of the fans here, you know, I can't help but feel silly, you know, to quote you guys, you know, sitting here on a Monday morning.
I don't know. How did he get that comment off, George?
What's that, Goes?
How did he get that comment off of the new yacht that he probably bought with all the money he put down on Jon Jones, right? Let's see the receipts. We
yeah, it was so obvious.
We tell you guys all the time what we think. We get smashed when we're wrong. I'm sure you guys are wrong from time to time as well.
Yeah, I was told that on Instagram. Well, that aged well. And I said, well, congrats, I'm going 13-0. And he said, well, I technically had Valentina, you know. And of course I felt like saying, well, that aged well, but you just gotta take it. You
right.
gotta take it. You know, you gotta take it. And what can you do? Jon, seriously, congratulations. And Stipe does appear to be next. I mean, they're already talking about the International Fight Week. He said he didn't take no damage, but then he also said, well, they didn't train as much with the sparring because there was an injury that he didn't want to hint towards or whatever. And of course, we know with Miocic, there's been these delays. Fada, what do you think? Does this go down on International Fight Week? Jones versus Miocic?
I think it does, unless there's something major. I believe it will go down, just because I know Jon said he's been dealing with something, but he came out relatively unscathed. They're completely unscathed out of this fight with Cyril Gane. And Miocic hasn't fought since UFC 260, which was March 2021. That's 2 years ago. So I'm thinking that he's probably ready to go. I think they could lure them into fighting around that date. It makes sense. It's the fight to make. I know Stipe's coming off of that loss to Francis Ngannou, but he kind of wanted the trilogy. He felt snubbed out of a trilogy bout with Ngannou, considering they're 1-1. So considering who Stipe Miocic is and what Jon Jones wants to do, because when you look at the heavyweight division, Jon talks about potentially one more fight. He's going to need someone who's going to motivate him. And I feel he talked about that fire kind of not burning anymore at light heavyweight when he fought the likes of Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos. Stipe Miocic is going to excite him. He's a consensus greatest heavyweight of all time. A lot of people think so, at least most title defenses at 3. So this is something that's going to get Jon Jones excited. So International Fight Week has that buzz. It's usually one of the biggest shows of the year. So I don't see why not. So I think they'll fight in July.